Imagine a scene straight out of a high-stakes drama. Hundreds of passionate protesters, fueled by concerns over immigration policies, marching through the streets of Portland, only to face a forceful response from federal officers. This isn't just any gathering. It's a heated confrontation that reignites debates about authority, rights, and the balance of power in America. But here's where it gets controversial. As tensions simmer over the potential deployment of military troops to a civilian city, we're left wondering if this is a necessary safeguard or an overreach that could inflame an already volatile situation. Stick around, because the details ahead reveal layers most people miss about how these events unfold on the ground. On Saturday afternoon, October 4th, 2025, around 8:45 p.m., with updates rolling in until 11:40 p.m., a large group of demonstrators made their way from Elizabeth Caruthers Park in southwest Portland to the Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE Detention Facility. For those new to this, ICE is a federal agency responsible for enforcing immigration laws, including detaining individuals suspected of being in the country illegally. Think of it as the front line of U.S. border security efforts. This protest marks yet another in a series of demonstrations sparked by President Donald Trump's recent announcement that he plans to send up to 200 members of the Oregon National Guard to Portland, ostensibly to help manage ongoing unrest. The protesters, who had assembled earlier that morning at the park, arrived at the facility and took a bold stand by blocking the road right in front of the building. It wasn't long before federal law enforcement officers emerged from the center, deploying tear gas to clear the crowd. While the exact number of canisters isn't confirmed, those at the front lines reported seeing several launched into the air, creating a haze that dispersed the group. This tactic, often used in crowd control, involves releasing a chemical irritant that causes temporary discomfort to the eyes, skin, and respiratory system. It's designed to de-escalate situations without lethal force, but it can feel overwhelming and divisive to those on the receiving end. Adding to the intensity, officers proceeded to arrest multiple individuals who were positioned on the sidewalk near the facility's entrance. By around 1:20 p.m., more tear gas was fired, underscoring the rapid escalation. For context, protests like this often stem from broader concerns about immigration enforcement, civil liberties, and how government responds to dissent. Topics that have divided opinions across the political spectrum. Related, the Trump administration issued a 12-hour deadline to Oregon's governor to mobilize troops, as detailed in a memo from OPB/https:/opb.org/article/2025-10 Trump Kotek troop mobilization deadline. This move has drawn sharp criticism from some who see it as federal overstepping into state matters, while others argue it's essential for maintaining order. At least 2 of the detainees were released later that day. Cano shared his experience, noting he was held for about 90 minutes and handed a notice for trespassing, a legal citation that could lead to fines or court appearances, serving as a reminder of the real consequences of such actions. Another protester, Jolley, arrived in the afternoon and could still detect the lingering scent of tear gas. He urged fellow demonstrators to avoid taking the bait, a phrase echoed by Portland's leaders, suggesting a strategy to stay calm and not provoke further confrontations. Jolley explained his motivation. "What brought me out here was after 2020 and seeing what was done to our city by the publicity," he said. "I don't want that to happen again." This references the widespread media coverage and unrest during the 2020 protests, which many felt amplified divisions rather than resolved them. And this is the part most people miss, the personal stories behind the headlines. Steve Hall, a former U.S. Army intelligence officer with 3 years of service, voiced strong opposition to the Guard's involvement. "They, Guard troops, don't belong here," he stated. "Our police force is adequate to take care of anything and everything, including the city and the county." His perspective highlights a counterpoint. Why bring in military personnel when local law enforcement might suffice, potentially avoiding the militarization of domestic issues? Then there's Brittanee Carr from Milwaukee, who brought her 5-year-old daughter along. She mentioned her family had been following the protests via TikTok, a popular social media platform where short videos often go viral and shape public opinion. I want to show her that this is not okay, that you can stand up for what you believe in, and we can come out here and we can protest peacefully, Carr said. This adds a layer of generational teaching, illustrating how parents are using these events to educate children about civic engagement and the importance of peaceful dissent. Though it also raises questions about exposing young kids to potentially chaotic scenes. This story is still unfolding, so expect more updates as details emerge. Thanks to our sponsor. What do you think about all this? Is the use of tear gas and arrests a justified response to blockades, or does it stifle free speech? And on the bigger picture, should the National Guard be deployed to handle protests, or is that a slippery slope toward excessive government control? Do you agree with the protesters' calls for restraint, or see the military presence as a necessary measure? Share your views in the comments. We'd love to hear differing opinions and spark a thoughtful discussion.